Well everyone, iOS and iPadOS 26.4 is finally out to the public, and there's a lot of good things to like about this, a lot of quality of life improvements. We got 8 new emojis, some new widgets on the home screen that you can add. So sit back, relax, and let's talk about all the new top features and changes that came to iPadOS and iOS 26.4 because there's a good amount. Let's get into it. But now before we continue, if you guys do enjoy videos like this one where we go over all things Apple, consider subscribing to the channel and help us get to 1 million subscribers. But now, let's talk about 26.4. Well, alright everyone, let's get right into this, and we are on iPadOS 26.4. Now, in terms of build size, it was about 8 gigabytes in size, so give yourself 12 to 16 gigabytes of open storage to get this installed and installed correctly. And then quickly, in terms of the build number, if you go into our settings, in order to get this, you just go into your general, go into your about, and then go into your iPadOS version and then tap in again, and then you get the version that's 23E244. This is the public facing version. And like I said, there's a good amount of changes here. The first one is going to be in the Apple Music application. It got a bunch of new kind of quality of life. I'm not going to say they're amazing new features, but they are nice to have, and it could give us a little inference and foreshadow into what the new Siri looks like with Gemini. But the first one's going to be Playlist Playgrounds. So if you go into here, you get this beautiful new UI when you create a new playlist. You have some predetermined prompts over here. You have some suggested songs, and it's basically just a place for you to put in a prompt and actually have Apple Intelligence create some sort of playlist for you. So if I type in, let's say something like Justin Bieber, we'll press enter. It takes about 5 to 10 seconds for it to generate something for you, depending on how intricate your prompt is. But for the most part, the longest I've waited is about 10 seconds. So it's building a playlist for me. It shows up all the songs over here to the left-hand side, and it gives you a title for it as well. And then you can even kind of go in here, customize it a little bit more, add some songs, select a few songs. You have the ability to refresh the playlist, add more songs, customize it even more so if you want to, and then also add suggested songs down here. You press this little check mark, it'll create that playlist for you, and now you can see that it's down here. Not only that, but this is a great way to show off that now we have this new immersive look to Apple Music that corresponds with the album artwork no matter what it is. So of course, it does it here with this new playlist look, which is nice to see. So of course you can see that the playlist is now all kind of the same hue or the same color, or at least it tries to color match. And the same thing can be said about the songs themselves. So if you tap in the song, you can see that the whole kind of artwork is immersive and things like that. And also if you have a video version, it'll be even more so immersive. And you can see how immersive it really is. How many times can you say immersive? Leave in the comments below. But if you're on iOS specifically, it looks even better because you can have the whole video or album artwork kind of running on your entire screen. And then another thing that they added into Apple Music, which is something that Spotify's had for a little while, is if I go into a song, let's go into this Justin Bieber song right here, we'll tap in, and then let's say we tap into the actual artist. So if you go to the artist page, there's a new little logo that you'll see on the top of every artist page that says upcoming concerts. If you tap on there, it'll give you information of course, upcoming concerts, and not only that, but also the links to get tickets for that as well. So it could be any link. Again, this one I think is Bands in Town, but if it's Ticketmaster or StubHub or whatever the case may be, it'll be accessible via the Apple Music app. Like I said, Spotify's had this for a while. I'm personally team Spotify, but let me know in the comment down below. And these are features that you actually will be using moving forward. The next one is going to be in Shazam. So if you guys have ever wanted to Shazam a song, you can see that it's in your control center here, and you're able to Shazam it now even though you're offline. So for some reason you don't have service or you're in airplane mode, it'll actually save that music recognition and then bring it to you once you do have data, and it'll pop up nice and easy. So it's nice to know that now if you have a song that you maybe want to listen to, but you're on an airplane, or I don't know, you're in a situation without data, you'll still be able to remember that song and your phone will remember it as well. And then to continue on with kind of the music theme, we actually got some new widgets over here as you can see. We have 2 new widgets, a small and a large, and this is going to be for ambient sounds and ambient music. So if you long press, go to the edit, go to add widget, it's not going to be right here where it says ambient music. Now we've had ambient music for a little while now, and it's been usually, and it lives in the control center, but this is the first time we're getting it inside the actual widget itself. We're getting its own widget. And what's cool about these is that they're interactable. So I can just tap into one. So I tapped on the sleep one. It'll take a second. You can see that it's now highlighted, as you can see over the sleep section, and you're able to control it from there. If I want to change it to well-being, I can do that as well. It'll change to well-being. And what's cool about this is that if you want more info, it's all right there. So I can actually just tap in here, tap in there again, and it'll open up exactly what song this is. Now this is its own UI, so if I long press or go into multitasking, you can see that it has its own little ambient music logo. It doesn't have its own application, but just know that it doesn't live inside of Apple Music. It lives kind of on its own right now, and that's kind of how it's set up as it is today. The next one is going to be in the podcast application. So if we go into the podcast application, you are now able to natively support actual video through the podcast apps. So if there's a podcast that actually has video to it, so you'll see a little emblem down here. As you can see, that one has a video. If I tap on there, and I press, as you can see, even individually, you can see that there's videos. So if I tap on this one, you can see that there's a TED Talk and the video starts playing automatically. You also have the ability to hide the video. So if for some reason you are using data and you don't want to take up too much data, you only want the audio, you can just hide that video, it'll show up there, and then you'll be good to go. So you're not taking up much more data trying to download the video in real time. But if you do want to watch it, you can do that, and you can easily flip between the two with no problems whatsoever. And then if you tap in there, it actually enlarge it as well, which is good to see. And then another thing that was actually new is going to be in the subtitles. So if we click on this, you still have the subtitles, but you now have the ability to customize them even further. So you have classic, you have large text, you have outline text, and then you have transparent text as well. So more customization goes a long way here, makes it a lot easier to do, and you can even manage the styles in the accessibility settings, and you get a new whole menu in accessibility in order for that to be the case. And you can even create new styles, which is really cool to see. Change the font, customize it however you see fit. There's just a lot to see here, depending on what you want to do. Again, it's not going to be a feature that's going to wow a lot of people, but it's something that is new and improved with iOS and iPadOS 26.4. And now if we stay in the settings, Safari got a couple updates here too, which is very interesting. So if we go into our Safari, which we got to go into the apps, I still hate this new way of finding the application. I know you can just search it, but if we go into Safari, and then if you scroll down, this is going to be brand new on iPadOS. I think iOS had a version of this, but iPadOS 26.4 now lets you decide if you want a separate tab bar or the compact tab bar. And to show it off what this looks like, I'm going to turn on the separate tab bar. If we go into Safari, it looks relatively familiar to Safari that we've had in the past with just your regular tabs over here. Very easy to use. You have your URL bar over here. But now if we switch and go into the compact tab bar and go back into Safari, you can see that now it looks a little bit different. So there is no URL bar, and if you want to actually change anything, you got to go in here, and then the URL bar kind of reforms itself to its UI. Again, it's just a preference thing in terms of how you actually want to view your tabs, what's easier for you to view, what's something that you're more familiar with, but that's something new in Safari. And then the next one is actually pretty beneficial for people that don't use Safari or want to move their stuff out of Safari, which is very interesting that Apple's letting you do this. But if you go into your settings, go into Safari, you now have this history and website data. So you now have the ability to export. This is new right here. So if you have Chrome, and again, some of the different browsers, Comet, Chrome, all these other ones are going to update themselves to work with 26.4, but it'll basically search your iPad or your iPhone for any other web browsers that you have that are compatible, and then you can export all that data, whether it is your history, your bookmarks, your passwords, everything can move over to Chrome or to Comet or Edge or whatever other web browser you use on your iOS device. So that's great to see, and if it doesn't, you can just export all that data into a file and then import it whenever it is ready to go. Another one that got an update is going to be Freeform. So first off, Freeform did get the brand new Creator Studio application here. I did recently subscribe to Creator Studio just to kind of play around with it, but you have the ability to now have your AI image generation, your new edited tools, see browser content hub. So if I tap in here, I'm able to see all the things that can be generated via the new Discover tab inside of this. Again, if you're in the Creator Studio, leave a comment down below. I'm curious to know who's using it, how people are using it, and if it's worth it to use it long term. Curious to know what people's thoughts are on that one. And then the next one, which is going to be just a quick, simple one, is going to be the keyboard fix. So Apple did have an issue, and it's in the release notes. I didn't notice it too much in iPadOS because, again, I'm using the Magic Keyboard a lot, but apparently what's happening for those people that weren't using the Magic Keyboard because the on-screen keyboard was just a little bit laggy. And you could really tell on iOS because, of course, that's your main keyboard, but not as much on iPadOS. Just know that there is an actual fix for the keyboard with 26.4. Next one is going to be a layout change in the App Store. So if you go into the App Store, go into your actual settings here, you can see that everything is kind of laid out differently. Before, when you open this up, you get all the updates down below this, but now it's a little bit different. It's just a little bit more organized, which I like to see. So you have your subscriptions here, your app purchases, your updates now have its own tab, which you can do and update them all from there. And then you have these new buttons down here. You have your send a gift, your redeem code, and add money as well. So just a new way for everything to be laid out. And this new Apple account button is actually different as well, or at least that new logo. Another new layout difference here in the game application is that the search bar is now at the top. It was at the bottom before, and it's more prevalent in iOS versus iPadOS, but again, it's just another place. Nothing has changed, just where the search bar actually is. And then another one that came up is going to be something that my buddy Steven Robles is going to love. It's going to be in the Shortcuts application. So if you go into Shortcuts, you now have the ability to add charge limit controls. So you can now set your battery limit as part of an actual shortcut. So if I go in here, add a new shortcut, maybe we'll type in battery, set battery charge limit, and you now have the ability to change it between 80 and 100%, and even go into the variables and ask each time, and you can just basically add that as part of whatever shortcut you're running. So basically set charge limit to 80% if this happens is great to have in your shortcuts. So now let's get into a more fun one with 26.4, and they added brand new emojis. There's 8 new ones. You have the ballet dancer, the distorted face, the fighting cloud, the hairy creature, which is basically Bigfoot over here. You have the landslide, orca, the trombone, so shout out the trombone players, and then finally a treasure chest. And to show off that they are available, they're just kind of small right there, but I did show them off right here. I can't really zoom in because, again, it's a notes application, but you can see that they are there, and it's nice to know that they are available with 26.4, so let me know if it's something that you guys are going to be using more than often. And then another one is going to be in the accessibility settings. So if we go into our settings, go into accessibility, then go to where it says display and text, then scroll down to where it says reduce bright effects, so you can actually turn that off and on now, and it's basically this halo effect that's mostly in the control center, so it isn't really visible to a lot of people, but to some people it is something that is kind of annoying to see, and it just kind of messes with what they're seeing. So now you're able to do that and reduce that bright effect, which is nice to see. And then another one to notice here is if we go in here and add a new wallpaper, Apple kind of just changed up how they're actually showing off the wallpaper. So you have your different images here, but now they're going to be wallpaper packs. This is kind of similar to how they do it with Apple Watch and watchOS and the Apple Watch application, but now you have to individually download all these wallpaper packs. They're still native and made by Apple, but they just kind of removed them so it doesn't take up more space than it needs to. It's just going to be a layout difference, nothing really functional there. And then some other things to take into consideration is that RCS encryption is now end-to-end for RCS messages between iPhone and non-iPhone devices. Harder to show on an iPad, especially if I don't have data. And then lastly, purchase sharing update. And then lastly, if you do have a family plan in your app store, normally there would be one default payment method, but now you're able to have different family members use their own payment method but still be part of your family, which is a great one for being able to share it amongst yourselves. But that's everything with 26.4. I'm going to do one quick battery update here for you guys to check it out. Battery's been pretty good with 26.4, the beta program. I'm going to play around with the public version for a little while here to see what kind of screen time we get. But, you know, a day like yesterday, we had about 2 hours of screen time. On a day, we had 10.5 hours of screen time on this one, which was kind of crazy. On March 19th, we had another day, which is 65% of usage, and we had 10 hours and 53 minutes. So battery life is definitely taking a great turn overall. But let's finish up this video, everybody, and comment down below if you updated. But that will just about do for this video, everybody. As you saw, there's an abundance of new changes, nothing kind of major that's in your face, but a few little quality of life improvements, and even some new features that are actually tangible that you can use on a day-to-day basis. Thank goodness they finally fixed the keyboard situation, especially on iOS. Even though it was happening on iPadOS, it wasn't as intense because, you know, I use the Magic Keyboard, but the virtual keyboard issues we were having with 26.3 and 26.4 beta are finally fixed in the public version of 26.4. But let me know in the comment down below what you think. Did you update to 26.4? Are you using any of those new features? Which iDevice are you using? Is it an iOS, iPadOS, macOS device? Let's discuss down in the comments below, and if you made it to the end, leave a little dolphin. If you guys want to see some more coverage on MacBook Neo, the M4 iPad Air, click on one of these videos right here, and until next time, I'm Fernando. Peace, everyone. Don't worry, I have the review of this A-Logic monitor behind me coming real soon. I know a lot of people are curious about it.